Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trading Within the Box here on July 14th, 2026, here at 2:47 p.m. First of all, this is not a recommendation to buy, holds any stocks, options, forex, any futures, any equities. This is an educational video only. If you'd like to purchase stocks, please contact a licensed professional, and they will help you there or the brokerage house of your choice. Okay, so let's get to it here. First of all, July always with these little rallies, so every year, pretty much, almost. Nothing's always exact, but for the most part, yes, April, July, November-ish. So what we're doing here is we're going to look at Microsoft first. Now, Microsoft's been lingering around here for a while, right? And if you look at this monster volume stick right here, you can't really hide that. Okay, that's if they're covering here, let's say at support right in this spot right here, you'll see there's not really covering, but this is for real. Okay, so it might take a little while. Sometimes these things take a while. You plant some grass, right? And it takes 10 to 15, 20 days, 30 days for that spot in your lawn to get full. So we have a little bit of a sideways area here. We do have a little bit of a W formation. Let's see if we can get to the 443.10 area here, okay? Right now, got the earnings, and that earning date, just be careful if you have Microsoft on July 29th. And a lot of times their history has been that they do sell into the earnings. Okay, so let's get rid of that. And sorry, I had to black out my trade there. Okay, so with on the S&P 500, okay, now we're getting to the top of the range again here. Now look at the channel. Let's go through it right here. Look at the channel, what we got going on here. We have this. Look at this. This is solid, okay? But you are getting to the tops here, okay? So you do have lighter volume. Look at the tops with the volume here, okay? So you are approaching this area with lighter volume. So that's something we're going to have to keep watching. Well, again, with the S&P 500, as we follow pretty much every day, we always look at that 2-hour chart. Want to see what's happening with that 2-hour chart, right? We want to always see if the buying is coming off from making new highs, or, we have higher lows, and we want to take out this area right here. We're holding support areas. We're buying off support. We always check the volume, and right now the volume is a little light here, okay, on the S&P 500. Now we do have some issues overseas, and you do have an election year coming up here, so we're gonna have some choppiness going on, okay. That's normal, okay. With the XLF, okay, with the bank basket, look at the banks. Now the bank's pretty solid and pretty strong here. As you look at the banks going into the resistance area, coming up into it strong with strong volume, going into that swing point on July 7th, okay? And let's go over a little volume analysis. On July 7th, with a swing point for 27.12 million shares, okay? Now we're coming into that yesterday with 33, and today, okay, coming very strong. So we're coming into those areas very strong, so the banks are strong. Let's go to the SMH, which is the second half of the stock market with the semiconductors, okay? Now, with the semiconductors, this is a little bit of a split market, too. That's why some of your stocks could be struggling. Look at this little downtrend here, okay? Right? But you have the 50-day moving average right here, holding at support at 583.09, okay? So you want to see a turnaround with the semiconductors. Now, with the semiconductors on the weekly chart, we're holding this area right now on the 9-day moving average. Then we had this 591.27 support area in that buy spot. Okay, so we got to move fast because we have a lot of stocks here to go through. IWM, which is the small caps. Now, with the IWM, let's go over to the daily chart, right? With the daily chart on IWM, we have hovering around support. Now, with the weekly chart, you want to see exactly while it pulls back, it's pulling back with a lot of volume. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't get a little bit of a correction here, or do we get an embedded stochastic and we start hit and then we start going up, okay? Or does this start breaking down, and then we get a correction, okay, on IWM, okay? So we're going to see what happens. Now, we do have very light volume up here in this area, okay, in this sell spot. So we don't see a ton of volume yet coming in. Here's that's something to continue to keep watching. Also, the dollar, okay? Now, with the dollar getting stronger, this is a weekly chart on the dollar. Let's go through. Now, with the weekly, now this is not a surprise. We saw it coming the whole way. We were watching this thing the whole time. We came down. We got the W formation. We got the engulfing right here. And then we break the middle of this with conviction, with good volume. And now we hit the 200-day moving average, which is like a ton of bricks. So let's see what they're going to do. Is this going to pull back, hold, then come back up and make another run? Or is it going to go sideways, stay really strong, and hit the 2902? Is this going to go into that range? Now, let's look at the monthly chart. They've been strengthening this dollar, okay? And with the oil going on, too, which at one point will be coming back down, way, way down. We'll see. But always that's what we're projecting with this dollar. Look at this dollar, because that was an oil-backed dollar, right, previously? Look at the volume in the dollar. But the volume is month by month going down, the volume, okay? So we're not increasing. See how the volume was increasing here? And then, boom, it made some run, right? That was the 2021 into 2022, okay? Here, we have a little bit of a different situation month by month, with volume going down as it's going up. Remember, we used to draw that right here, okay? So that's what's happening with the dollar. So that's when we'll look at the bonds later, okay? Bond market. Let's go to Apple, because we got Apple's a monster. And Apple's been doing outstanding. We got Apple. Now, with Apple, on a monthly chart here, we do have some earnings coming up here with Apple, and we hit a wall. Now, we hit a wall 317.25 once. We hit a wall twice. Now we're hitting it the third time. Let's see if that's going to hold or pull back. Now, we did have some buying coming off the 279 range coming into that when it pulled back, okay? So we had a lot of activity right in that spot. What happens always, maybe not right now, this is week by week by week, it is going to retest this high volume area right here. It will retest it, okay? So we should probably get a retest into this spot here at one point. I'm not saying this is going to happen right this minute or anything like that, because this is a weekly chart, but we always do follow them on the smaller time frames. And now we're coming up into this area, and it's a major sell spot right in the spot, but what are they going to do? Here, we're going to see the 2-hour chart, if they're going to continue buying this or if this is going to start dropping. Now, we have a little bit of a small breakdown here, not a big one, a little bit of a small, but let's see if this thing comes back up. And when we get back into this area at the 304 range, the 298 range, where all the volume came in when it retests that area, when it goes back into it, if it goes back into a lighter volume, you know that you could have a run right back up to the top, unless you get bad news overseas, and that will override everything, okay? So right now we have a very choppy market, and what's going on, elsewhere, right? Okay. So we have gap ups here with Meta. Now, Meta with the gap up with the high on July 10th of 677.86. Okay, so now look at these gap ups as we came here, which is very solid, okay? As we hit the support area, we had a little small gap up here. Then, boom, we got another beautiful gap up with a small pullback. We hold. We get a small gap up from this to here. Then we got a huge, massive buy signal right there with nice volume, okay? And we got another massive gap up a few days ago. Now we're pulling back here. We want to see pull back with lighter volume. We want to hold that 200-day move average right there with lighter volume, and then boom. And then we want to go to 684.18, okay? That's a good sign now for Meta, okay? Now with Meta, you have this going on with the big picture, okay? Now, the week of July 27th, you have earnings, okay? So we're going to see if the earnings, I don't know. Let's see. Anyway, right here, look at this that's going on here, though, okay? So we could be at a critical spot here of a big sell area as we get into this little 680 area here. And then will they correct it again? And then we're still going down into a downtrend. Now, we don't know for sure because we didn't make a new low here, okay? We kind of held and we have a higher low in this spot from this point, okay? So we have higher lows in the big picture here, here, and now here. So that's what we want to see a turnaround here with Meta. But the news on Meta is not well, and with their lawsuit involved and everything like that, we're not sure what's going to happen. But we do have a crossover on the monthly chart, and that's big. So we want to see that continue to keep going up because we get the behind there. We can get a, if that just keeps continuing going and we get some good news, we could test that $800 area. Okay, so that's something that we're going to continue to keep watching. Okay, Meta, because of the stuff that they got going on. Okay, now with GEV, okay, this has been just incredible. You just can't believe it, right? You can't believe when it was bought down here in the 130, 140 range. This you know, this is what SpaceX eventually is going to look like over time. You know, went to month by month by month over time. Okay, as the years go on. Okay. Now that we don't have enough data yet for SpaceX, to give it a good analysis of what's happening. But GV Minerva, look at this thing, this locomotive here. Just comes to support, they just keep buying it. They just keep buying it off support. Reminds everyone Amazon, who just kept going up and up and up and up years ago. So that reminds me of. And let's go to SpaceX. Let's go to SpaceX really quick because people were asking me to do it, and it's very hard to do it. You can't. There's no data here. This is just pulling back with extremely light volume. Now that's what they do. They come out, all the hype, boom, then they pull back. Now pull back with nothing. Okay, pulling back here with zero. We're at this 136 range, right where it started. Okay, so 138, right? That's right where it started, right? Okay, so that's a long-term investment, right? On SpaceX. Okay, that's going to be a long-term investment over time. Okay, that's something you put away for 10 years. I'm not telling you exactly what to do, but that's what I would do. Okay, so now with Micron Technologies, another one. Okay, now we have a little bit of a small breakdown here with Micron. Let's look at because we just kept going up and up and up and up, and that's reminds you of the GV Vernova, right? But we do have more selling volume right here, week by week by week here. So we had some more profit taking than we've had the last time, right? The last times when they pulled back here, they're really okay. Look at this volume, and remember, the stock price is a lot higher. So when you were down here at $120, $130, look at the volume coming in here. So just keep that in mind also on MU, on Micron Technologies. Now, Micron Technologies, we go to a 2-hour chart. You'll see the money coming back in. Okay, right now we're not convinced yet because we haven't really broken this area and got the trend up yet, but we want to see if they're going to come back into it, okay? Let's go back to our daily chart first, then we're going to go to Amazon. Now on Amazon, look at Amazon now. With Amazon, you have a situation here like with Microsoft, right? Look at this. So when it came down, they really covered. Now with those monsters, they're going to retest them at one point, or they're going to retest close to it at one point. So I'm not saying that's going to happen right now, but look at the volume, how light the volume is up in this spot right here, okay? And a lot of these are, also seasonally too, right? They go up different times of the year. So with that said, right here, we have a crossover on the weekly chart, but we want to see more conviction here. Are we going to get this little pullback to retest? Because look what happened here. When we had this high volume, right, we came up a little bit, then we retested it, right? So that's what happens here. Like we had a little bit, we didn't have a huge stick here, right? But we want to see, but it will retest this spot right here, right in this spot, okay? It will retest that spot. So it's something, let's go over to the 2-hour chart. On the 2-hour chart with Amazon, okay, you want to see it holding and go up. Now, I'm not convinced here that, we're really going up or anything because we've got no volume here coming in and some profit taking coming in here. So that's something that's very choppy, and there's no real big conviction there, right? Okay, so Caterpillar. Let's go over to Caterpillar now. With Caterpillar, let's go over to the weekly chart first. And of course, this is the time of year that Caterpillar pulls back, and it had to, because we had a high on the week of June 29th of 1073.46. Now we come back to support here on the 9-day moving average. Now the last time it kept coming to that 9-day moving average, somewhere in that area they kept rebuying, okay? So that's something that a lot of Caterpillar investors that wanted to buy more of, and maybe they took their profits and they want to get back in. We have a sideways consolidation here, okay? We have a sideways consolidation right in this spot right here. Now let's see what they do off this. Are we going to get a sideways and then boom, or we're going to get a sideways and break down? Okay, that's what we want to know. Now we have a huge candlestick right here up in this area. So I want to see if we're going to retest and come back up to that. That's what we want to see. We're going to see if we're going to come back into that area, okay? We have to check the monthly chart on Caterpillar. And with Caterpillar, monthly chart, right, 849.42 is a nice little buying spot right there, okay? So continuously on the 2-hour chart, we want to see if they're going to turn this around. Okay, now we have a sideways consolidation right here, and let's see which way we're going to head, okay? Right now we got very light volume, okay? Let's go over to Google. On Google, sorry, put the wrong symbol in. Google. Now with Google, here's another thing. Let's go over to the weekly chart, okay? Now with the weekly chart, we have all the way on the bottom, and we came to this spot. Now look at the line chart where we got a retest W formation here. We want to see this and then this, okay? That's what I want to see on Google, okay? That's on a weekly chart. That's a longer term trade, but right now we're lurking in the wings, and we have a huge candlestick, volume stick right here, just like Microsoft and the others, to retest that. We want to see if we want to retest it. Obviously, it's going to come in with a lighter volume. Okay, so there was a big covering there in that spot. Okay, so we had good news that day. Okay, now Costco. With Costco, this happens every year, right? We go through this pretty much every year with this pullback. We hit the top of the range at that 1093-ish area, and then what do? We come back right into this area here, and we had a sideways consolidation with a breakdown on the weekly chart. Okay, so that's something that we have to continuously be careful with, because we want to look at the monthly chart, and monthly chart we have a correction. We have a big correction here right now, and we have pressure to the downside. This is the same way gold and silver, with the pressure to the downside with the monthly chart. Now we want to see in a long-term picture, if we get this, and we get this kind of thing, and over time we get this, then that's solid. But if we get this, and this is a reversal right here, and we got an M formation, then we got some troubles with Costco. Okay, so that's going to have to be watched very closely. Okay, HD, Home Depot. Now at Home Depot, okay, that's also very seasonally too, right? Look at Home Depot breaking down. Now we had the sideways consolidation that finally broke that 200-day moving average. But what do we see here? Could this possibly be a reversal with a long-term bullish head and shoulders pattern with good volume? We're going to see. Okay, that's another one you should keep watching. Okay, that's another one. And look how we come up. We got 1, we got 2, and we got 3. Okay, got 3 peaks already, and we got a pressure with the 200-day moving average right here. Okay, so when you're under the 200-day moving average on a daily chart, that was not being supported by the institutional money. Okay, so I wanted to see what's happening. Now we have more sellers right in this spot than buyers. So let's see what they do when this thing comes back up and tests it. Is it going to fail? And then, we start reversing again on Home Depot. RTX, let's go with RTX. We got a lot to do here. RTX. Now with RTX, these are defense stocks, right? We had that correction. Remember, we had that nice correction down here at that 173 range. And it needed it, right? We wanted it, okay? But then look at this. As we came down and we had that correction, we held that spot. We held that 171 to 175-ish. We hit off the 50-day moving average, and we came back to it, and we've had a good run here, okay? Now we're coming into this area with lighter volume, okay? And we have earnings coming, okay, with these defense stocks, right? So let's see what they do. Let's see what they're going to do here. Okay, we got lighter volume. Don't forget, we got earnings on July 23rd. Okay, so let's see if there's going to be a reversal here or a breakdown. We have a sideways consolidation, and we don't have a conviction yet with volume yet. Okay, GD. It's another one. It's another defense stock, right? And now with GD, I'm sorry. We had that beautiful pullback, but then we had that buy signal candlestick right here, right there, with a massive volume, okay? So we had that, okay? Now we don't know if we had 1, we had 2, and 3 peaks. We should get a pullback here, okay? Should get a pullback. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but we should get a pullback right in that spot. Now, you'll see when it breaks down. Right now, we made a new high on the daily chart. Okay, we made new highs on the daily chart on July 2nd, okay? 2nd, 6th, and on the 7th. Now we have a sideways consolidation here. Sideways consolidation, these are great because whatever way they break, if it breaks up, it goes usually about the distance of the length of the sideways consolidation. Okay. PLTR. A lot of people asking me about Palantir. Okay. Now look at Palantir with this huge buy signal here. Let's see if this connects at the end of the day here. Okay. So if this closes higher and it stays the way it is, it's a massive buy signal, right? And it's got good volume with Palantir. But with Palantir, the bigger picture is where it's slamming right into this 50-day, 20-day moving average on a weekly chart. Okay. So it could slam into there and then come back. So we have that same little situation here. Okay. Let's look at the monthly chart. So we do have a little bit of a pop here. We could have a pop. Now, if this monthly, and we start getting volume kicking on, this monthly starts connecting over, we got that. We could get a locomotive of a situation, right, on Palantir. Okay. So that was actually, the high was 207.52, and then we had a low here of 160, 106, in that 106 range. So that's it's a big difference, right? It's a big difference. So it's something that we're going to continue to keep watching. Okay, TMO. Let's go with TMO. TMO. Now with TMO, okay, we was get this nice little buy area. When was that? Last year around July. So look at last July with TMO. Okay, look, we were down here. We got the buy signal. We come into July, boom, we get the W. This is a weekly chart with an engulfing W with 200-day moving average here. If we start closing above and we start heading up, we could have a nice little run. Doesn't mean we can't get a pullback or two here and there, but I'd love to see this run right up to the top again, okay? On a monthly chart, we have two huge buy signals in the month of May and the month of June right here, okay? And so these are easy because when you get the capitulation 2 months in a row, your chances of going up are 90%, okay? So look at this monthly stochastic crossing over. So that looks pretty solid right now, right? And then what? Let's look at the volume chart. Let's look at the volume. Now, as we're going into here, now we're in July. We closed in this candlestick in February where we came down with almost 46 million shares, okay? We were coming into that candlestick with 48 million shares, okay? 53. And then let's see what this month holds for us, okay? So TMO looking solid right now. So we want to continue to keep going back to that. And that's a good time for TMO in July. It seems like it's seasonally that good, right? Broadcom, which reminds you of the .com era, right? Remember Broadcom from the .coms? If I can go back to a chart from... No, my chart doesn't go back that far. But we came a long way, right? Broadcom came a long, long way from $1.46 or whatever it was back in 2010, which is a long time, a period. But if you look at, there was a lot of selling volume in the month of June up at this 461.11 range, okay? So with Broadcom, we're going to wrap this video up pretty soon. Look at the bottom of the weekly chart, okay? The bottom of the weekly chart, okay, hits support and then boom. Okay, let's see what happens here. Now, when we go to the daily chart with Broadcom, look at this. We want to see, we have no volume in this spot right here. Let's see what happens. We need to get some volume kicking in here. But if we do get volume on Broadcom, we come up, we come back, and we get an engulfing. Look out, okay? Let's see. We do have more selling volume right now than buying volume, though. So that could be, coming back a little bit. You never know. So this could actually be one of these little M formations, then come back. Okay, we do have a lot of volume right here, and it did retest it, right, and it failed. Okay, so with that said, let's go over to really quick. BAI, which is ETF for AI, and with BAI pulling back here, pulling back to the support level of 44.19. Now this is not a surprise, because now we're coming back here. So let's see what happens. Look at the volume. Look at the strong buying volume. We want that volume to come back, right? Let's look at the weekly chart. Want that will come all the way back, hold right in this spot, and then just continue to keep going, right? That's what we want out of BAI. Okay, now we have to go over the GDX gold style, the gold miners, and it's not the time of year for gold, right? It's just not. So look at the correction, which is nice because we wanted a correction bad in this, okay? So we want to come back into it, right? That's what we want to do. We want to come back into the gold stocks, gold miners, right? That's what we want to do. So we have the monthly chart heading all the way to the bottom, and we have a 20-day moving average here at $72. So let's see what they do if they hold this spot. Let's see if they hold this spot. Silver, SLV, that's the Silver Trust iShares for Silver Trust. And look, remember this. This is a monthly chart. Remember this volume stick. Okay, right here. Okay. They usually come back to those spots. Now, this is not the time of year for silver, but you could get a lot of times in August you'll get a little pop in the action from the minor stocks, and the silver and copper and all that stuff. So we got 1, 2. I think we're gonna get a third peak Actually, if you want to call this 1, 2, 3, this could be 4, but our volume stinks, right? So let's go over to a monthly chart and see really what's going on, because you're sitting at a major, major support area. There's a major support area in the $50 range, okay? 52, 53, or whatever you want to call it, okay? Now, as far as we go to the weekly chart, we're still not being supported, right? We're not being supported. We go to the daily chart on silver, and we're still not being supported. We got a dojis here because we got no volume, okay? Got a lot of dojis in this spot right here. We have a cluster, and it does remind me of being up here in this area right here, right? Cluster, that something's going to happen. Boom. Cluster, something going to happen. Boom, or something going to happen down to the downside with silver, okay? So that's something, of course, we just keep watching silver, okay? Last but not least, TLT, okay? The 20-year bond, treasury bond. And we had a nice run on the TBT, right? That's because the dollar was getting strong. So this was short the 20-year treasury bond, okay? Short the 20-year treasury bond. Let's look at the short, however that's been doing. We could still be going up here a little bit, okay? We could still be going up here a little bit with the short. Now, we have no volume at all. Let's go to TLT. We have this, okay? We have this right hanging around in this area, okay? So it's pretty much hanging around in this spot right here. So let's see when it hits and if we get a little pop to that in action. With that said, I want to thank everybody for coming. Thank everybody for watching. Please like, share, subscribe to my channel if you like the content. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. And enjoy the summer. We'll be back soon.